Hello again. So, yeah, I think I'm about ready to go full circle back to the beginning and let's go back to Trump and QAnon and then sort of, describe my journey over the last. Describe the journey. It's been interesting. There's one more point I wanted to bring up in that Trump, Trump's touting all of his economic successes and policy successes. And I think there's two things to point out with that. First is that I think that him and Obama are on the same side essentially. Well, not essentially. I think they are. I think they're all. I think the media, like both sides of the media, are on the same side. I think both sides of politics are on the same side. I think that the idea that Trump is going to come and rescue everybody, I think that's a deception. I think it's all just part of the big Hegelian dialectic. So I think Obama was one of the, it's one of the worst presidents in history, but it makes him an easy act to follow. You like if I was Satan and I wanted to set up a political leader, like if I was going to do what I think is going to happen, I would do exactly what Satan's done. I'd put a leader in. I'd put President Bush in and have him do a whole bunch of wars, and have him be a really hated Republican president, and then I'd put in Obama, and he would get 8 years because everybody hates the Republicans, and rightfully so, because Bush was so terrible. But Obama gets to do whatever he wants basically, and he destroys the country, and then everybody hates the Well, not everybody, but the strong support for anti-democrat, and Trump comes in and he wants to upturn the tables and change the system. Well, he can a lot of support for that, and then when he gets in, all he has to do is undo what Obama did, and he's immediately hailed as a his administration is immediately hailed as a success. But so there's that. I think he was set up to succeed by Obama. And then also, there's one point that sort of makes all the economy stuff moot. It's the deficit that America is in. Like if you've got a Ferrari and a big house and you wear nice clothes and things, but you've got a mortgage that's 20 times, or you've got debt that's 20 times the price of the house, and the interest repayments are beyond what you earn, so you can't even pay back the interest. Then the fact that you've got a nice house, the fact that on a surface level things appear to be going well, doesn't really mean anything, does it? I mean, in the short term, yeah, it's nice to have a nice car, and as long as you can keep borrowing money, you can maintain the lifestyle, and you can even buy more stuff. You can go you can hire more gardeners, and you can get everything looking really good as long as you can keep borrowing money. But eventually, it's unsustainable. You can't just let the deficit go out of whack forever. And there's no way America can pay back the debt. So it's going to be a crash, and it's going to be a global crash. I think that probably they'll bring in cryptocurrency when that happens, and that'll help with the AI stuff, because the AI will be able to control that and will know what's going on. They probably, I would guess, because obviously I don't know, I would guess that a lot of the economy will be based on the blockchain going forward. So it's a good way to do it. Just crash the economy of the world, which will happen if America economically goes down and it can't repay its debt. Then that has a run-on effect to the whole world, and it's not like the world is going particularly well at the moment economically. Like, it's not just America that's going badly. So yeah, there's that. I don't think the economy in America is going as well as Trump's making out, and the employment numbers are good, great. Everything that's going well. It's good that it's going well, but it's a short-term thing. It's a mirage, really. It's not going to last. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much all the points I wanted to make. One last point. If you find these videos useful, I recommend downloading them. You can download them. There's plenty of websites you can go to download YouTube videos. Don't expect them to stay up. Not because I'm expecting to be censored, but because who knows what's going to happen with the internet and what's going to happen with YouTube, and everything could get wiped. Who knows? So if this is useful to you, then download them. And it's the same with any video, obviously. If there's a video that you want to be able to look at later, then download it and keep it on your hard drive. And the other point was the power of God versus the power of Satan, because there's a lot of scary things going on. Basically, there's a lot of evil in the world, and I think it's easy to forget that God is way more powerful than Satan. Like, it's not. If you were to plot the power level, it'd be like that. I shouldn't even bring up this thing, but the power level 9,000 or whatever it is. Power level, like it's beyond that. Like, the difference between God and Satan. God is all powerful, and Satan is, he's powerful for an angel, but compared to God, he's nothing. So don't be worried. Don't be worried about that. God's in complete control, and he gets what he wants. And don't be afraid. I mean, it's hard. It's easy to say, don't be afraid when I'm sitting comfortably in my rocking chair. But trust God, basically. Trust God, and let everybody else be a liar, by the way. But trust God. He's in control. He'll get you through. And in the end, who knows what's going to happen? The end's going to be bad if you haven't accepted Jesus and you're around during the final period of time. Well, he's not happy with you, probably. I mean, he still loves you, but like, he's pouring out his wrath on the earth, and so he has to test you. And we're in the period of time at the moment where you can be saved through grace, which sort of means, yes, you're a sinner, but Jesus died for you, and so your sins are forgiven if you accept his sacrifice. And he's being very patient with us. He's not giving us what we deserve, basically. During this period of time. But if you reject Jesus, the time runs out, because it just can't go on forever, where he's just endlessly patient while all this bad stuff's going on in the world. At a certain point in time, his patience will run out, and it's pretty much there. At that point, you can still be saved, but it's through fire, basically, as I understand it. So that's why, you might be beheaded for the testimony of Jesus or something if you're... Yeah, but don't worry about that. Worry about, keep your mind on sort of the big picture and, the eternity in a much better world. So... yeah, it's been a weird year and a half. Like, learning all these things, and it's hard to explain what's going on, because there's like two levels of deception, two levels of awareness. Like, there's that concept of red pilling, and people think when they stop being a leftist and they realize that feminism is bad. That's a red pill. You take the red pill, and then, oh yeah, that's right, feminism is bad. Oh, I never knew. Well, it's good that I've taken the red pill, and now I'm woke. And it's like, well, that's like going from 0 level understanding to level 1, but there's all these levels beyond that. And when it comes to like QAnon and like that level of understanding, the understanding that the world is run by secret societies and all that type of thing, like, it just sounds ridiculous to most people. So then trying to explain, yes, the world is run by secret societies, and God is real, because a lot of people are atheists. It's like, yeah, the world is run by secret societies, and they worship Satan, and God is real, and God is real, and Satan is real, and Jesus is real, and all that stuff is going on, and the QAnon stuff's happening. So there's an enormous red pill. Everything you thought you knew, you don't know. But then you also have to explain, this thing is going to happen. There's going to be this great awakening, but it's a deception. So you've got to completely change your perception of reality twice. You've got to realize, the Q stuff is happening, and there's a certain amount of reality in there, but that's only a percentage of the truth, then there's all this other stuff. You've sort of got to learn about that. You've got to learn about Q, and when I say Q, I mean sort of the event that's going to happen in America and globally, that sort of transition into the New World Order. People think they're fighting New World Order, but they're implementing New World Order. Getting rid of Satan and bringing in Lucifer, sort of thing. This is the New World Order. This is how it begins. It's not like the people aren't fighting back and going to win. There isn't a secret war going on with Donald Trump and military intelligence and things fighting behind the scenes. It's covert war, and they're doing everything right, and they're just amazing and all that. And just one day it's all going to click, and all the bad people are going to go to jail, and some of them are going to get executed, and everything's going to be better. Like, that's not gonna. It's not realistic. I mean, come on. That's how the New World Order comes in. This is the final phase. You create an enemy, and then you controlled opposition. Controlled opposition. It's the way it's always done. You control both sides, and it doesn't matter which side wins. It just happens to be this is the Great Deception. It's the Great Deception. And so trying to explain this to people, it's hard. It's like trying to explain to people God is real, and the Bible is literally true. It's like, not only do you have to accept that God is real, but then you have to accept that science is not, like, the scientific reality isn't the reality that we live in. Trying to explain that your propaganda is, like, people understand propaganda is real, and you can point things out to them. You can point out certain aspects of conspiracy theories, depending on how open they are. But if you've got time, you could point out your 9/11's a hoax, or they're spraying chemicals from the sky. Not where I live, luckily, but in some places they are. And you can point out the pharmaceutical industry is corrupt, and certain GMO crops are bad, and there's genetic engineering is. And the list goes on. Like, the number of things, the number of conspiracies that exist, and then the actual conspiracies, and there's an element of truth to all of them. Trying to explain everything, it's hard. So I guess what I've tried to do, is just to tell people the truth and be a fool, basically. Be foolish in the eyes of everybody, knowing nobody's listened to me, but I knew that once things happened, either I'd be wrong and I'd be a fool, or I'd be right, and then people would know the truth in advance and they wouldn't get blindsided by all this stuff happening, So I've just tried to tell people the truth. So I think, you have to be careful about that, because it's easy to think that you know the truth. I've probably talked about this already, but you have a revelation about something, and then you think that because you've had a revelation, you now know the truth. It's not true. Not necessarily true. It takes a while to really start to understand what's going on, and even when you really start to understand what's going on, you still don't really understand what's going on, if you know what I mean. So how do you tell people? How do you not mislead people? It's easy to see a piece of the puzzle, uncover some new piece of the puzzle and think that's the entire puzzle. But I just hope that enough people are aware, do the right thing, that most people get saved, and I hope not many people take the mark of the beast and worship the Antichrist. I hope it's obvious enough that people figure it out. I'm always disappointed, I have to say. I'm always more optimistic about, surely people will figure it out. Things are getting really bad. Surely they'll figure out that they're doing the wrong thing, because, everything's falling apart, But I'm continually disappointed. It's a strange world. Yeah, it has been a journey. Yeah, so I think be honest, be humble, and don't mind. Just be honest and be humble. You don't know, you're not going to know what's going on exactly, but at least you can tell people what you've seen, and like, don't try to convince people of things. I hope I haven't done too much of that. Like, if you know what I mean, it's one thing to relay information. It's another thing to relay information in a way where you're trying to convince people, oh, this is the thing. You need to believe this. Hopefully, I haven't done that in these videos. I've tried to just talk, but you lose perspective when you're just talking. Just talking to a camera. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I need to say. I just wanted to get these things done so that, because I've written a couple of emails and I've talked to a couple of people, but you can't really express. I've written some long emails and densely packed them with information, and it's overwhelming. Like, I know it's overwhelming, but it's like I just need to somehow get this on record so that, because that's the other thing, I didn't know when the Q stuff was going to break in like May of last year. About that time, or April, May, I was thinking, oh, all this stuff's going to break. It's going to be, martial law is going to come out, and all this information about the Satan worshippers is going to come out, and there's going to be chaos in the world for a little while. So I need to go around telling people then. And it's been that way for a year, basically. I've been expecting imminently that something could happen, and these dates keep passing. It's like, September 11 comes up, and it's like, well, maybe I'll do something in the anniversary of September 11 because, Q, it's this thing about Q being the 17th letter of the alphabet. And, 17 years after 9/11, 2018, September 11, maybe something will happen then. Or then it's like, the midterm elections are happening in America. Maybe something has to happen before that, surely. They're not going to allow all this. You're not going to allow the Democrats to go in to the next election with the Mueller report going, all that stuff. So surely something's going to happen, and then nothing happens. And then there was like a date on the 11th of the 11th where Trump was going to do a military parade or something at one point, and it was like the Q clock. It was counting down to, I think it was counting down to that date. It's like, well, something's going to happen on that date, or before that date, or on that date, surely. And then nothing happens, and it's like, all right, well, the new year, surely something's going to happen by the new year, because it was the government shutdown as well. It's like, well, something's going to happen during the shutdown, isn't it? Or nothing happens, and then the next thing happens, and the next thing happens, and the next thing happens. It's been imminent things going on constantly. So that's how I've been living this last period of time. Just initially, it was cramming as much information into my head as possible, trying to cover all the angles, because there's all these conspiracy theories and things. I just wanted to be aware, and I was learning about God as well, and all these lies about God and about Jesus and stuff, and all that world. And that's confusing. So I was trying to go through everything and basically confusing myself over and over again, but trying to explore every single avenue that I possibly could, so that I was prepared for whatever happened and I could guide other people through, because I knew that whatever happened was going to be a big deal. So basically just I've looked at everything, and it's only really quite recently when I've started to calm down. It's like I've told everybody I know multiple times. I've written a couple of emails. I've done everything. Like these videos, I think is probably possibly the last thing that I sort of feel like I need to do. And then I've done my best. I've done everything that I could do to warn people and to prepare people. At this point, I mean, you've still got time. If the rapture hasn't happened yet, you've still got time to get saved. But I'm not expecting very many people to do that. I mean, nobody's really even asked questions, so. Yeah, it's been a year. I'm looking forward to meeting Jesus. That'll be interesting. Be interesting. I've noticed, I watched the videos, I noticed my nose is really big in these videos. It's pretty funny. Especially when the light comes down in such a way that it's only my nose that's in the light. It's pretty cool. Big schnozzle. Anyway, there's no such thing as luck. God's in complete control. So, God bless. May Jesus bless you and lead you to the truth, and open your heart to Him and let Him guide you. I hope you make it. I hope you make the right choices. If you make the right choices, you'll make it. You're going to go through some tough times potentially, but you'll make it, and then I'll see you on the other side.